If you want to do public speaking, or maybe you're even preparing for a talk, I want to share this video with you because I'm on the journey myself and I'm watching my dreams come true. And it's insane to think that it went from being a fantasy and a dream in my head to do public speaking to now I've spoken on stages. I've been flown all over the country to speak on stages. And I'm the keynote speaker next month at an international convention. I am the keynote speaker. And even though I have some experience with this and I've taken tons of public speaking courses and training and read books on it, and this is a passion of mine. I just woke up a little while ago and I was having a nightmare that they were calling my name on stage and I was running around unprepared. My shoes weren't on, my shirt wasn't tucked in, I had no idea what I was going to talk about. And I was panicking and I woke up like, oh my God. So this speech of mine is 45 days out. And that means crunch time. You have to be prepared way ahead of time, and I'm going to give you a bunch of resources that can help you. I'll get right into it. Number one, and they're all different variations in pricing, from very, very cheap to very expensive, and so hear me out. Number one is a book called Steal the Show by Michael Port. Listen to all of his audiobooks and read his books about public speaking. It's a great book. Steal the Show. The biggest takeaway that I had from that book was he said a large percentage of newbie speakers will get on stage, and the second they get on stage, they panic when they're walking up to the stage, and they'll take their entire speech and just scrap it and just start winging it. He says, stick to the script, stick to your speech, even if it's not perfect. It's just your best bet. That's how you get that book for $15 on audible.com. I'll try, if I have time, to put the link below. The next is World's Greatest Speaker Training, WGST, by Brendan Burchard. He did it with Roger Love and Bo Eason. It's a 4-day live event that you can actually get all the recordings of for like $2,000. But trust me, it's worth it. And I invested in that a few years back because I had a speech the next morning. And I was like, oh my God, I feel unprepared. And that's what type of stuff will get you into invest this type of money. I invested in that program, changed my life. And I stayed up till 3 o'clock in the morning. And I feel that I did a very good job on stage, and because I was well prepared. And my greatest takeaway from that entire 4-day event was, it doesn't matter where you're at, inside or outside, or how thoroughly planned out you are. When you hit that stage, when they call your name, it's game time. You are 100% on. Like a light switch. Boom, you're on. You're not like going up and apologizing because you're nervous, and then you work your way up to a energized tone or presence. There's people that flew from all over the country, possibly to even see you. But you have, you can even say, an obligation to give these people 100%. You would not be on that stage unless, that's another great takeaway, you wouldn't, from myself, you wouldn't be on that stage, and I have to remind myself of this, you wouldn't be here unless there was some type of value that the people of this organization or congregation saw in you, that a value you need to add. So, even if you're not the best speaker, you're just sharing information. That's the next thing I learned. I forgot from where. Because you can, Dale Carnegie, public speaking. There's Toastmasters locally in your city. You can look up Toastmasters, and you probably never even knew that somewhere in your city there's people meeting, practicing public speaking. I'll think of more as I go, but public speaking courses and training. Ted McGrath. He's an internet marketer, and he has something called Superstar Speaker Training, and a couple $100. It's a program that's phenomenal. This dude is he's a genius. And he's a guy from California who does very well in his internet business, but he also loves public speaking. And he talks about seeding and threading, and he breaks down the structure and neuroscience, the psychology of speaking and persuasion. That leads me to another book. Buy both of Robert Cialdini's books. There's one called Persuasion, And I think there's a third book called Influence, of learning how to, persuade and persuade people. Seeding and threading means that you just have to read the book. My friend Joshua Latimer, his public spoke all over the country, and he talks about having one underlying main theme and tone to your talk. Instead of being all over the place, you hit one point, very, very, very deep. That tip made me do the best talk I've ever done, which was 2 years ago now. It was a speech called Know Your Worth, and I created this, and I had an entire audience saying, "You know your what? Worth! You know your what? Worth! Put your hand on your chest and say, I'm worth it." And everybody's like, "I'm worth it." I said, look to your neighbor, look at your neighbor to the left and to the right, and give him a high five and say, "I'm worth it." Boom, boom, I'm worth it. Like, stuff like that. And looking back, because I record every talk, whether I'm paying a videographer $2,000 or flying a videographer all the way across the country and paying up to $3,000 just to have them videotape me. Because every talk I believe you do should be videotaped. Because even if only 50 people are watching you, that's 50,000 people that can see you on Facebook, LinkedIn, Pinterest, Instagram. Because the highest form of leverage that you can have in this aspect is being seen speaking on stage in front of an audience of people. It's a form of social authority. So with that being said, you want to look the part, whether it's a suit and tie or if it's just jeans and a t-shirt. When you're fully engaged and you're speaking as an authority, but also part of the community. You're not telling people like you're above them and you're not below them. You just happen to be a speaker in the community that like the rallying cry or championing a message. And you take on that role. You take on the role model. You become the role model. Even if it's just for an hour, you better be that role model. So, I'm a little shaky. I just slammed a big cup of coffee and I'm very excited right now. My wife just took the dogs to the groomer and she'll be gone for like 3 hours. And I never get the house to myself. Ever. So, I'm gonna make some videos. That sleep in my eyes drive me nuts. You would never do this on stage. You would have all this worked out. So let me know if you have a speech below, if you have any questions or tips or any videos or ideas that you would like me to talk about. And I got to get out of here. I got a bunch of stuff to do. Appreciate you. Crush it.